Hello everyone, welcome to operating systems. So we're gonna go through some of the slides for today, right? Starting from chapter 1. So for chapter 1, we're gonna talk about some of the basic things that, first get to know what is an operating system, what it does. We're gonna go through some of the computer system organization, architecture, and operations of the computer system and the operating system. And we'll talk about some of the resource management that's happening on the computer and done by the operating system. And we're going to skip security and protection, but we're going to cover a little bit about virtualization and distributed system, right? So I expect the others would read on their own on some of the kernel data structures, computing environment, and some of the open source operating systems that are available. Right? So these are the objective of the course. Basically trying to discover some of the organization of a computer system, the components in it, the difference between user mode and kernel mode, and basically discuss about the environment about an operating system. Right? So what is an operating system? We will be filling up the blanks later. But an operating system basically exists in a car, on an airplane, a printer, washing machine, toaster, compiler, on your phone, on your smartwatch, everything that's smart today, Android TV, and various other things actually do exist. Uh, an operating system running on it. So essentially, an operating system is a program that acts as an intermediary between the user of a computer and the computer hardware. So it sits in between of this, trying to help the user basically on using the computer hardware. And the goals is basically, one is to solve whatever the user wants to do, and accessing the hardware in the most efficient way possible, right? uh, so in the for the user here, use a program, make it convenient to use, and handling these resources the most efficient way it can, right? So a computer system basically is divided into four different components, and this would be the hardware, the operating system itself, the application programs, and the users, right? So when we're talking about hardware, we're talking about CPU, memory, I/O devices, and I/O devices are like printers. Everything is just attached that would allow input or have some kind of output, right? So this includes maybe the screen monitor, the keyboard, the mouse, what have you, right? So the operating system itself, it basically controls and coordinates the use of hardware among applications and users. So we have an S here because typically we use a personal computer and the user is only one person. But for other systems that are designed to handle multiple users, then we'll have more than one users particularly, right? And the third component here is application programs, right? Which defines the way in which the system resources are used to solve the computer problems of the user, right? So we're talking about applications that we use. It could be word processor, compilers, web browsers, database system, video games. Although this is not a problem, but it's something that people run as an application program, right? So this includes all the other software that you might be familiar with, right? Web browsers, Netflix, video players, etc. Right? And the fourth component finally is the users, right? So users are typically the ones that will be using the operating system. These are people in general. It could even be machines, right? So how could a machine use operating system? Well, we have other programs or other computers using this operating system, making requests to this operating system, or other computers within the network itself, right? So if we look at this picture here, we see user, we see application programs, right? So the user interact with application program then will interact with the operating system, and the operating system help manage accessing CPU time, processing power, memory, I/O devices, and other things that on the computer hardware level, right? Okay. So, but what exactly does the operating system do, right? Well, in this case, it depends particularly on the point of view, right? So if we are talking about users basically want the convenience, the ease of use, and good performance, right? It doesn't really care about how resources are being utilized, right? But this is basically what the operating system do. So in the operating system point of view is to utilize all resources the most efficiently, right? But for the user point of view, this is not really important. They just want to make it easy to use with good performance, right? Now, for a shared computer system such as a mainframe or mini computer, or server somewhere, it has to keep all the users happy, right? So the operating system jobs in this case is trying to manage resources, right, using an algorithm that would allow resource allocation and control of programs to be the most efficient in trying to access hardware and etc. Right? Hardware could be CPU, memory, and etc. Right? Users of a dedicated system such as a workstation, for example, have dedicated resources, right? So it really depends on how or what the computer is designed for, right? On the other hand, mobile devices like the smartphones and tablets are basically resource uh, deprived, right? So it doesn't have a lot of resources. So the operating system point of view here, or is trying to manage how battery life is being used and optimize the usability for the user, right? And it also provides interfaces for touchscreen and voice recognition, right? uh, in some cases, some computers have little or no user interface, right? This is common in embedded systems like your smartwatch, the car navigation system, or some of the entertainment centers in our the airplane, right? So sometimes it requires minimal user input in this case, right, or interaction, right? The term operating system covers many roles, and it's basically it depends on how it was designed and what is it designed for, right? And who is it, who the particular user is, right? So in essence, there's no universal accepted definition for an operating system. Everything a vendor ships when you order an operating system is a good approximation of what an OS is, but it kind of varies slightly. But in all operating system, there is one running program which we call a kernel, right? And the kernel is part of the operating system, right? Now, everything else is either a system program, which is something that's shipped with the operating system but not part of the kernel, right? But it's kind of important. This would be, your scheduler, your timer, your time in the computer, some of the file system, the windowing system. All of this is pretty much shipped with the operating system, but it's not part of the kernel, right? But and there's also other stuff that is an application program that's or program that is not associated with the operating system, but the user still uses it, right? And they interact with the operating system, right? Today, OS for general purpose and mobile computing also includes some middleware, right? Frameworks uh, that provides additional services to application developers such as a database, multimedia, and graphics, and etc. Right? So we're going to stop right here, and we're going to come back in the next session of the video for the overview of a computer system architecture. I'll see you in a bit. Bye bye.